Hello there, and welcome to Chitta Diaries. Welcome to part three of the September Chitta Chats that are focused on. Okay, why did I chuckle? Like, I realized as I've been editing the past couple of videos that I need to stop chuckling at serious things. Like, it's not funny. But, anyways, there I go, chuckling again. This month's videos are centered around mental health. So today's video, as you can see from the title, is me talking about trying to balance out my masculine versus feminine energy and the struggles that I've had in the past and how that has affected my mental health, how I've grown as a person, how I have healed, and how I continue to work on myself in this regard. So, backstory. Okay, you know what? Let's just accept the fact that I chuckle at serious things and move on. But yes, backstory. I was a tomboy growing up. Like from a very young age, I just decided that I will go down the path of, acting boyish, dressing that way as well because it's what made me comfortable. I did a video years ago. Like, please don't go looking for it because my quality in 2017 was the pits. But still, but anyways, I did a video explaining like the backstory of what it was like feeling like I was objectified because of the color of my skin. It was a very, 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 very real thing. Okay. And because of that, like I learned from a very, very young age, okay, to protect myself. I think that's the best way I can put it. There were all these very, very awkward encounters, like within my family as well, because I don't, like some men are just strange, okay? Like people would say things in a joking matter that made me very uncomfortable. I'd go out into the street. Like I would just, live my life as a child and hear people say things, people point out the color of my skin and make me feel objectified. And I didn't feel comfortable. So I decided very early on, and that's why I did it. Okay. Later on in life, I realized that the reason why I opted to be a tomboy is because I felt it was safer for me to cover myself up and be as less of a girl as possible to protect myself. Later on in life, like when I was chatting with my sister, because she has pretty much, had a whole career in the NGO world, and like she would tell us about some of her security training, and she brought this up recently. Though I've forgotten what particular oh yeah, never mind. I remembered what she was referencing recently, but at some point years ago, she talked about the training that she had in terms of security and how, like, automatically as a woman in certain environments, like, you are a target just automatically. But there is some control that you have to make yourself a hard target versus a soft target. I know, like, it's mad. I'm not trying to endorse, RAPE culture. That's not what I'm saying. Don't misunderstand me. Like people who decide you know, to be predators or just horrible people who, will be perpetrators of SA, like whether you dress a certain way or not, like they would do it. Whether you're a fully adult woman or a child, like there are sickos who will still attack people, if you get what I mean. So I'm not trying to say, you wearing something is the reason why, someone might choose to harm you. But in certain scenarios, okay, there's those sickles that there's those sickles who are at a certain level where it doesn't matter what you wear or what age you are, whatever it is, as long as they feel entitled to you, they'll go ahead and do it. But then there's other people who are like in their mind, they still feel entitled, to a person's body, but they quote unquote need a reason, like, and then unfortunately because of society and very very wrong messaging and coding that goes out, if a woman dresses a certain type of way or presents in a certain type of way, they decide that that's their reason to catcall or just be disrespectful towards a woman. Hopefully that makes sense. So I should have given a trigger warning because I just talked about something very serious. I sincerely apologize. I should have given a trigger warning. But yes, so because of that, from a very, very young age, like I explained, um, I just, opted to be very boyish because I wanted to make myself a hard target. I assumed or I thought that acting boyish, acting rough, being as little as feminine as possible. Is that even grammatically correct? But you catch my drift. The less of a girl that I was, and the more boyish I was, the more aggressive and hard that I was, I thought that made me a harder target. Okay, even though in the grand scheme of things, if people are sick in the head, like they don't care how you dress or how you present yourself. So yeah, that carried on. Like that was like the beginning of, how I was in terms of how I presented, how I styled myself, how I behaved as a child. And then as life went on, okay, as I grew older, I continued to be a tomboy. And it got so serious that there were periods of my life where I didn't wear a dress or a skirt for literal years. I had a uniform in grades 8 and 9 where I had to wear a skirt, and then when I changed schools, I didn't have to wear a uniform. Like I wore clothes. So all the way up until prom. Okay, prom was the first time I wore a dress in like 3 years. I think I wore a dress for prom and my aunt's wedding because I was in the lineup, and it was like in the space of a couple of months, and I was 16, and from age 16 up until like the next time I wore a dress, like not even a skirt, like a combination of a dress and a skirt. The next time I put on a dress, I was 23. I was literally 23. So it was one thing, okay, not wearing skirts or dresses. And then also even just the color of the clothes that I wore, like for a very long time. I remember being a kid and a teenager and saying I hated pink. I hated pink. I hated pink. I would always say I hated pink. And later on in life, I realized it's because unofficial color of like, femininity. Like that's what, really pushes femininity and being soft and all of that. Like it's pink. Okay. So I went and decided that I needed to be, as dark as possible. I didn't want anything colorful and loud, anything that would attract attention. And black ended up being my favorite color. It still is to this day. And I will expand on that later on how like I'm not about to give up black because I look good in black, okay? But for a very, very long time, black was my favorite color. I found so much comfort in the color black, okay? And that's where I hid. I was this fake emo kid, okay, as a kid and as a teenager. Like that's where I gravitated towards. Now, because of that behavior, because of all these thoughts and how I presented myself, I unintentionally became a pick me. Like I had this, I won't say energy, but my behavior, the things that I said, whatever I spewed out of my mouth, unintentionally made me look like a pick me, even though what I wanted was the opposite of the male gaze. And that's something about, being made to feel uncomfortable in your skin, or just, being a woman in a very conservative space, and not only conservative, but in a space that isn't safe. Like I'm like, let's just keep it real in this country. The fact that people, okay, like I know I said I was going to give like a trigger warning before, and I know I said I should have given a trigger warning because I realized too late that I had said a whole bunch of serious things. But let me tread lightly and just say that it is a fact, like it is a fact, you guys, that our Zambian society um is like, there's a lot of and I get, okay, like trigger warning. I'm about to talk about pedophilia. Trigger warning, trigger warning. But if you live here, okay, if you're a regular Zambian like me, you've grown up here, lived here your whole life, you will agree with me when you say that there's there's low key casual pedophilia. It may not be the actual act, but just the fact that men can go around saying the most outlandish things about underage girls and nobody flinches, that they think it's normal. Men can even talk about how, like grown ass men can talk about how, they find teenage girls attractive, or if you look at a certain, like, it's okay for them to find you attractive and say it out loud, and nobody will check them because they're like, oh, you know, like she's the one who's being a temptress. Like the way I see people react in the West, like you would get called out, somebody will call the police, like you can't say such things out loud and get away with it. Here, someone can pass a very, very, sick comment towards an underage girl and nobody will flinch. So just be like, oh, it's because she's dressing in a certain type of way, so she's asking for that sort of attention. Do you catch what I'm trying to say here? That's what I mean by there's a lot of casual pedophilia here that is very, very wrong, and that people just let slide, even though it's extremely, extremely disgusting and should be illegal, literally. Yes, if someone, commits an actual like act, like physical assault, yes, I'm not saying that people aren't put in jail for it, but just the fact that people can say things with their mouths that are extremely inappropriate and nobody checks them, that's why I'm saying like our society has a problem. So with that being said, okay, again, like I'm so sorry this video is so serious. Yeah. I thought it was going to be lighthearted, but there's absolutely no way in which you can talk about such things in a lighthearted manner. But yeah, because of that, I went through this entire era where I, felt like I needed, to dress, in a certain type of way and just completely abandon any feminine vibes, okay, to protect myself. Because I thought if I even made an effort, it's like I was asking for attention. Like it just ends up getting embedded into your mind. And then if you're someone, who is of a lighter complexion where I am, so this is how it is when it comes to desirability politics where I live. If you're light skinned, you are deemed desirable. Like, I'm not saying it's everybody, but generally that's what happens. If you're curvy, if you have like, yeah, if you have curves, if you have like a nice bum, big hips, big boobs, you're deemed desirable, like you're curvy. If you're light skinned and curvy, it's like double the unwanted attention. Okay, it's rough. And I have like a friend, like though like we're full blown adults now, but even she has told me in the past that she can't even wear jeans if she's going to people's homes because she's very curvy. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what type of jeans she's wearing. Like she can't go and visit people's parents or people's homes where their spouses are because it would be deemed inappropriate just because she's curvy. People who have a light complexion can't wear things that show their legs. Okay, and I'll talk about this later. Not that you're walking around in booty shorts, okay, with all your but even just like your knees, like just showing skin, okay, might make people look at you like you're asking for something or you're asking for attention. Like it's very, very sad. It's very, very sad. So I went through this whole phase of my life where I was forced by my society to think that I just liked being a tomboy, and then my mom was stressed. My mom did not like the fact that I always wore trousers, I always wore baggy clothes. I always wanted to present myself in as masculine of a way as possible. Like she wanted me to be more like chipper and not, yeah, but just to be softer, like to present myself in a softer, more stylish, leaning towards feminine way. And my older sister would always laugh like when my mom would be stressing out, and she would tell my mom, and she would tell me that like later on, like she told me that she would tell my mom to just relax, and the time would come, you know when I would start wearing dresses, and she would tell me as well, like, oh, like one day you would like this is just a phase, you definitely wear dresses. And I used to get so mad because I'll be like it's not a phase, this is my style, this is how I like to dress, etc. Like I honestly, like I was so deep in that insecurity and fear that I believed that that was genuinely my style, that I genuinely loved wearing trousers all the time, always covering my legs, always covering, like my, yeah, like basically my body. And then I convinced myself that I was insecure about the way my arms and legs looked. Okay, sometimes I feel like I have a bit of a point, but the point is, like, I went around truly believing that I didn't like the way my legs looked, and I would tell people that, and that's why I wore jeans and slacks all the time. Same with my arms. Like, I okay, I do like long sleeve outfits. I feel like I look flattering that, or maybe it's because like I've just gotten used to them. But I went through a whole phase, you guys, a whole phase where I convinced myself that that was my style. Now I am not going to, shit on that era. I looked quite nice in my tomboyish era. Like, I figured out how to style myself. And then when I got to my early 20s, I wasn't like full on tomboy. I would wear nicer things, like in a way that was more flattering and more feminine, but as I was still always covered up. Like, I began to evolve. I still wore black, I still wore dark colors, but there was a bit of some chicness, some grown trying to be sexy thing that was coming in, like it was seeping in. We hadn't yet gotten to dresses and skirts, but at least I was beginning to evolve. So now, as I began to evolve, and I think I briefly mentioned how it's important to figure out who you are as a person, like in part two. In the same way, like as I was getting older, and I know my insecurities, because sometimes people would ask me like, why do you never wear dresses? Why do you never wear skirts? Why do you never dress in a certain way? Why don't you wear bright colors? When I got older, I was like, you know what? Let me sit down and actually ask myself why. Like, let me think deeply about this, and in like investigate why I have insisted on being excuse me, on being this way for so long. And I went through a phase where, like a new phase now, like in my mid to late 20s, where I began to evolve and I questioned so many things. And I began to realize that, oh, the reason why I did ABC and D was because of this deep insecurity. And I was very fully in my head. Okay. I was very fully in my head. I was overthinking so many things. Like, half the time, nobody cared, okay, whether I wore a dress or not. Okay. Nobody around me cared. It's just that I had this, I would be constantly overthinking, my environment is like, I would just feel unsafe in certain spaces when a good amount of the time, like it was just me overthinking and nobody cared. And once I realized that nobody cared, it was just something that I'd carried, with me for a long time. I began to loosen up. And I think that's when I wore a dress for my 23rd birthday. And then as time went by, like, I would wear dresses for like weddings and kitchen parties and birthdays and stuff like that, but not necessarily in my everyday life. Like it still took some time for me to get to a point where I felt at ease to wear, a dress. But now, with regards to feminine energy, because that's like a whole thing. Like, I've just talked about clothing, even just the way I behaved and the way a lot of us behave in certain environments. Like, I don't know how to explain this properly and do it justice, but I know I've had conversations about this with my sisters and my friends, particularly like my sisters. We've talked about being forced into your. So I realized as I was editing this that going forward, the point that I was trying to make, I kept referencing masculinity as like a blanket statement or a blanket thing and referring to it as negative, when what I meant, what I thought I was trying to communicate but failed to, was that I was referencing toxic masculinity or toxic energy specifically. So I thought I should just correct myself, or yeah, just be very, very specific that as we are going forward with the point that I am trying to make, I was referencing toxic energy specifically, or toxic masculinity. Yeah. Masculine energy, okay, as a Zambian woman, or just living in a conservative society. Like, you're unfortunately forced into your masculine energy and you don't even realize it. You are forced to be hard, you're forced to be aggressive because you're trying to protect yourself. Like, you're trying to present yourself in a way where people don't walk all over you. So it's one thing, okay? Like again, like you can't be too soft. Even just in the workplace, like if you want to be taken seriously as a woman, you have to be hard. Like you're forced into your you're forced to be in your, masculine energy. Like that's like a whole like other situation where in order for you, yeah, but basically because again, like I live in a, it's, can I call Zambia like a patriarchal society? It's like sometimes, it's a patriarchal society, but at the same time, women in certain tribes and the like are really, really respected. But I think overall, as a nation, like with regards to who's really in control of stuff, it's a patriarchal society. So we're unfortunately pushed to be masculine, and we don't even realize that we're in our masculine energy, but we are. Like we can't even relax and chill. And yeah, like that was like a a a whole other thing, that I had to deal with and get through. Now, again, like, so now that was early 20s, mid 20s, late 20s. When I got to my late 20s, I now began to have a certain level of agency over my life. And I truly hope that if you're listening to this and you're struggling, let me tell you, I hope you can get to a point where one day, like, you feel safe, you have enough agency over your life. And by agency, I mean you have, yeah, like it could be money. And this is the thing, you guys. Money is so important. I know I talk. Did I mention this phrase in my money chats? But in case I didn't, like there's this saying. No, I did mention this. I recall like referencing the person who I heard it from, but someone else on YouTube said money may not buy you happiness, but it will buy you freedom. Okay, it will buy you freedom. So I got to a point where I have enough agency over my life, where I'm old enough. I have worked in a certain environment for a very, very long time where people know that I'm good. like I like I can do my job well. I am competent. Like I've proven myself, and unfortunately, you have to get to a point where you prove yourself before you can ease up on being, in that toxic masculine energy where you're just aggressive and hard. You unfortunately have to prove yourself first. Okay, you have to be in a place where you're taken seriously before you can ease up. Same thing with not feeling safe when I wear certain outfits or certain styles. When I was younger, like, yes, like I would be in spaces where people would look at me like I was a kid who they could take advantage of. And even now, like I'm 31 years old, for those who are new, and I've been in situations where I look like, I know I look younger than my age, and grown ass men have approached me thinking I was, I don't know, like someone in her early 20s in college, talk to me a certain type of way. And then when I tell them how old I am, they'd be like, oh, snap. I like wow, like no, like actually a grown up, like never mind, apologies. I thought I was talking to somebody who was a child. Like, see what I mean? Like they ended up checking themselves and then they back away. So that's not somebody who you would feel safe around with if you are actually in your early 20s, like, and you're in certain environments. When you're older and you tell somebody off and you're like, hey, like f off, or like don't mess with me, if they recognize the fact that you're older and you can actually do something about it, you will feel safer. So, unfortunately, that whole phase that I went through, I wish I could have done it differently. I wish I could have had more or better self esteem growing up. But I also feel like it was a phase in my life that I had to pass through. It happened for a reason. I'm not going to discount it because at the time, I did not have agency over my life. I did not feel safe in a lot of environments, so I had to present in that way. It was unfortunate, but that's how I survived. Like that's how I survived and got through many situations. If I had chosen to be bold, to dress in a certain type of way, I know I would have had a far harder life. Unfortunately, like that's just the truth. So I don't want this video to be too long. Like we might just get an under 30 minutes video this month. Wow. Yes, major improvement. But I will give like one last anecdote or story time of how like I recently went through like an even deeper epiphany. So last year, right? I went on holiday, I went to Seychelles. Now, like I'm not rich like that where like I've traveled around. Like I've actually only been to African countries. But I've been to Zimbabwe, like when I think yeah, I think Zimbabwe was the first country that I went to. When I was younger, like I went on a family vacation. I've been to Kenya, I've been to South Africa, and I went to Seychelles. These other countries that I've mentioned, like Kenya, Zimbabwe, South Africa, I could feel like the energy that I feel in Zambia was like it was the same there. I could wear, of course, certain outfits in certain designated areas where people are liberal, but for the most part, I wouldn't be walking around aimlessly in certain outfits. Like I knew I can't dress like this in these areas. The same energy, the same conservative, misogynistic, patriarchal energy that we have here, I felt it in those countries. And if you live there, like I'm sorry, but like I'm not trying to shade your country. Like I'm just trying to tell you, how I felt, and like in that environment. But when I went to Seychelles last year, because even then, like Seychelles gave me the biggest epiphany, because as late as last year when I was how old was I last year? 30. I went there in October. I was still in this zone where I told myself I don't like I was wearing dresses at that point. I would wear dresses for weddings, etc. whatnot. But I'm not somebody like even the dresses that I would wear at weddings or functions or birthday parties, it was like past my knees type of thing. Or just but it wasn't something that was like, truly feminine. It was cute. But I was going to visit my friend who lived there, and she like grew up in Zambia her entire life. So, and she's Caucasian, but even she, knows that okay, the way she grew up anyways, like even though she's Caucasian, like okay, so like where I'm from, like non-black people get a pass to wear whatever they want, but she grew up in an environment where she still had to be conservative, and unfortunately even for her, but she had been living in Seychelles for a while, and as I was going and planning and everything, she was like, make sure you wear, like, bring shorts, bring short dresses. Like, it is very hot here, nobody cares what you're wearing, like, trust me, nobody cares like, nobody cares if you're wearing anything short, just show up in things so that are short and comfortable and compatible with very very hot and humid weather. And I was like, are you sure? Like I still packed jeans, and she was like, trust me, nobody cares. Come with shorts. So I went to Seychelles, right? I remember the first day because I was going to visit her, and like because she like is married, and also like yeah, but like and I'll get to that in a bit. I'll get to that in a bit. I was very very uncomfortable, and she kept saying it's fine, it's fine. Everybody here wear like everybody wears shorts, even people's parents, people's grandparents, they wear like just wear shorts. First day I was uncomfortable, but I wore them anyway. Like we walked around, we did a lot. Day two, like went and did a whole bunch of touristy things. And so she is a resident there, and she's been there for a couple of years. Like we're walking around, like not even those touristy things, and just like everyday people who live there things, and nobody cared. Literally everybody was okay, not everybody, but what I mean, like it was chill. It was chill, and I was in so much shock because one, I was like it was I was not, in a space where people were checking me because of the color of my skin. So the majority of the locals there are like far lighter than me. Like they're Creole, so they have like okay, like is it ethnically like they're mixed? Yes. So like so it's like a whole country of light skin people. It's very diverse. It's people who are my skin tone, darker, but for the most part, it's people who are significantly lighter than me. It's people with curves, people like all shapes and sizes. People were wearing shorts or short dresses, and nobody was flinching. And I felt so comfortable walking down a street in bum shorts or a short dress, and nobody was looking at me funny. Like nobody cared. It took me 2 days to just completely, like, within 2 days, I completely obliterated a life, like 30 years of some philosophy that I had made up in my mind of the reason why I don't wear blah blah blah. Like all of that was for like it just took me 2 days of being in an environment where nobody made me feel weird. And I was like, I actually like wearing shorts. And thank like I had a whole bunch of dresses that like I was now wearing dresses. I was in a bathing suit. Like by the last day, like by the end of the week, because I was there for like I think 7 to 8 days. I was just like, let's go to the beach. Like I was walking around, butty cheeks out in my costume on the beach. Like I was so free because nobody cared. Like that's just the life that they like that they live. They don't objectify anybody based off of what they like. It was so chill. Okay, and again. That was just like it was a very short period for me to have experienced this. Maybe if I'd stayed longer, I'd have gotten other weird encounters. Like and I'm sure every country, every region has, its bad side, but I'm just saying, I went through a whole epiphany and it made me realize that I am this fake low key tomboy. Like it's all fake. I was so happy being like dressing up in clothes that I actually like, but I always would always tell myself weren't good on me, like didn't look good on me because I, felt very self conscious. Like I was living my best life wearing short, like I couldn't believe it. I was so happy wearing short things. I went through this whole epiphany, you guys, that it was all a lie. It was all a lie. Like I was telling myself lies. And I was so happy there. And there was literally only one day where I felt weird, where people were looking at me funny. And it's because like we left the main island and we went to this separate island, a much smaller one that was like purely for tourists and expats. And when I went there, it was other tourists, like, like there was some Nigerian men, some European men, whatnot, who thought I was a local. They were the ones looking at me funny. You know what I mean? They're the ones who made me feel like, oh, like maybe I should cover up. Like that's the only time I felt uncomfortable. But it wasn't the local Seychelles people. No, it was other like tourists or expats or immigrants who were looking at me funny because had shown up with whatever horrible society issues that they grew up with in their countries, like they came with that so they could look and ogle and just look at women funny because of that. But you catch what my drift. So anyways, point is I came back after that week and I realized that it's my country that's the problem. It's not me. It's my country that's the problem. And I came back with so much oomph. Like I came back with this changed perspective and the like, and I was like, I have been troubling myself. I have been suffering when I don't even need to suffer. Like it's not that deep. It's like me dressing a certain type of way doesn't make me a bad person. It doesn't make me like a harlot or a whole. No, it's my country that's the problem. Because why should anybody feel entitled to somebody else's body just because of the way they dress? Like it's so mad. It's like it's so wild, and I know it's never going to change. It can get better. Like I know we're slowly letting a few more things be liberal, but like it's never going to get to a point where you see someone dress a certain type. Okay, like for the sickos out there, I doubt it's ever going to get to a point where you see someone dress a certain type of way and you don't like and you decide that like, okay, now I'm struggling with what I'm trying to say. Let me like organize my thoughts. But I don't think it will ever get to a point in my country where you can look at somebody and like, because even I look at people, and I'll talk about this in a bit, where I'm like, that's inappropriate. Like if someone is dressing in a way that you don't like I don't think for some men it will get to a point where you look at them and you know what, like I don't agree with that, and then you move on. It becomes a situation of, oh, she's asking to be like touched or catcalled. Like why do their brains go to that? Like that's what my beef is. Why do people like? Why don't men understand how extremely like help me find the word for that, because the only thing that is coming to my mind is disgusting. Like I wish they could be in our shoes. Like I wish they could imagine what it would feel like if they were walking down the street and a man like 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 another man felt the need to like grope them because they were dressing certain type of way. Like if men thought about it in that way, they would understand how appalling it is to feel entitled to somebody else's body just because of the way that they dress. Like why? Honestly, why? But anyways, it it that's unfortunately how things are. So anyways, what was I even trying to say? I came back all sorts of oomph. I was like, I'm a change woman, like I'm seeing things differently. I will now start, uh wearing brighter colors. I bought pink things. Okay. And this is the thing, like I will always love black and the androgynous style that I had, like like that whole Grace Jones era that I emulated. Like I always love, like that will always have a place in my wardrobe. Okay, I love me a pantsuit. I love me a pantsuit. Okay, like I look good in a pantsuit. That will always be a thing for me. But I am now also allowing myself to dress in a very feminine way if I want to, and not feel self conscious about it. Okay. And I have encountered some men who know me in my life who have dared to say to my face, "Oh, you've changed." And that's something else that I want to talk about, you guys. Again, this entitlement to women's bodies, this feeling of like, I don't know why some men think we hold them to such high regard, like their opinion matters. Every time I have met somebody where they see me in a dress or a skirt and makeup on, because like even makeup was something that I never thought I would ever do. They encounter me like a couple of years later and they're like, oh my gosh, you've changed. You're not wearing make, and then they're saying it in a condescending way, like that's supposed to make me feel bad or feel less of a person. Because again, like if you have if you present in a certain type of way, people will just think, I don't know, like you're a harlot or something. But anyways, let me just tell you this. Like I have encountered people who have told me, "Oh, Chalo, you've changed. Or you like this is how you dress now." And when a man says this, you guys, when a man says this, I I get triggered. Can anyone else relate to this feeling where you want to punch somebody in the throat, like literally punch them right in the throat and choke them out for a good couple of seconds for thinking that they have the right, to say anything about me? Like I get so aggravated and upset because I'm like, why do you think you're that important? Like, why do you think your opinion matters? Like, do you think I should crumble and fall because you? And even this, like even this thing of where they me saying I ended up presenting like a pick me unintentionally. When you cover up, when you dress in an unflattering way, sometimes some men would want to put such women on a pedestal. Oh my gosh, like she's so pure, she's so innocent. That's what we want to respect and not. So that's what we want to respect. And then we will not respect women who show skin, who love the way they look, embrace whatever. Like it's like, but then at the same time, they will be ogling you because they're attracted to you. But as soon as you do it for yourself, like they start to catch feelings and then they'll call you a hoe or a slut. Okay? Because you're taking ownership of your body and you want to dress a certain type of way and just feel happy in whatever style that you have for yourself. Like all of a sudden, you must be disrespected. So that's what I'm trying to say. When you meet somebody and then they think they have any power over what people should perceive you as or how you should feel about yourself, that upsets me. That's what makes me mentally punch people in the throat. So yeah, there's that. So anyways, I keep saying I came back and then I keep jumping off and going off tangent. I came back, okay, and I was like, I'm going to change, I'm going to wear certain things, be more free and not overthink situations and the like. And I okay, so like where I live, like we have different season. Like like during the cold season, like I'm not going to wear anything revealing, or during just like normal periods. And for work, I have a uniform, like obviously like I'm fully clothed and everything. And I'm a homebody. I don't go anywhere. Like the summertime was when and I actually bought like a whole bunch of summer outfits because I wanted to go out. Me who hated the summer, or me who hates the summer. Like I was like I would try this year because as soon as I got back from Seychelles, like I couldn't really do much. I came back, I couldn't really do much. But there was a day where I wore a particular dress. I liked it, even though I realized it was shorter than I thought it was going to be. And I went out into the world to have like I went on an excursion with some friends, and it's like how do I put this? I already mentally knew that I couldn't it wasn't an outfit I would go and visit certain people's Zambian parents, and I also wasn't going to go into people's homes where they're married. And I already knew that. I already knew that this is a outfit I can only wear, in certain, central places, like where people can dress liberally in like a friend group or something, or even just even if I'm on my own, but it's in a group of unknown people, but not in people's personal spaces. Like I was already aware of that, but then I ended up, going through like this encounter where, like at the end of the day, like someone sees what I'm wearing, and they kind of pulled me to the side. Like they meant well, but in that moment, after bigging myself up, I'm saying, like I will now, embrace how I want to feel, etc. whatnot, and just, be more feminine and the like I was told, that in nice words and diplomatically, but I was basically told to respect, like respect yourself and respect people around you. Like, why are you dressed like that? Blah 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 blah. Like, I hope you didn't go into people's homes looking like that. Like, obviously I didn't, but I couldn't say this, out loud in that moment because I was being reprimanded. But I just felt so much shame. Like I felt terrible. And because if you've been watching my videos, like you can already tell that I'm somebody who loves to drown in self-pity. Like I am so annoying when I'm in that zone. Like I will drown in self-pity for days. Like my mind will go far. Like I'd reach the point where I was like, you know what, like I've frittered. I'm getting all the summer clothes that I got and donating them to somebody who is like, I don't know, like to like maybe kids where it won't be short for that. Like my mind went far. I caught feelings, but ultimately the reason why I felt so triggered and so hurt is because I was made to feel shame. I was made to feel shame because I was repeating myself. And by the way, like I know like I'm sat here, but I'm a petite person, you guys. Like I have no curves. Like I am part of the itty bitty titty community. Like I'm flat chested. I have nothing going on down here. So for someone like me, when they're saying, be appropriate, it's because of the color of your skin. And it was just very, very triggering. Like if you're a light skinned person and you show skin, like that's you tempting people. I think I already mentioned this earlier in the video. If you're curvy, if you have curves, like you can't wear certain outfits because people will just think like you're trying to ask for trouble, you're trying to ask for attention. So after, going through this epiphany and somewhat healing and thinking, it was all in my head and I could actually wear dresses and feel good, for someone to now tell me or just shame me for wearing something, even though like I knew I wasn't going, like just that shame that I felt made me feel really, really bad. And I okay, so what's the direct translation for freestyling? Like somebody needs to help me out in the comments. But it's not giving up. I don't feel like freestyling is the same as giving up, but that's like the closest thing, that's like the closest word I can translate it to. I kind of gave up for a bit, but once I got over myself, because like I said, like I drown in unnecessary self pity, like I'm so ridiculous. But once I got over myself, okay, once I got over myself and sense located me, I processed what that encounter was and why that person spoke to me in that way, and I appreciated what they were saying in their own way. They were being kind, like they were worried about me and they're looking out for me because they were afraid, like they didn't know where I had gone. like they had just seen me in a certain outfit and they were worried, like, and they were like, I hope you didn't go into people's homes looking like that, because they know how people would look at me. Like, they were worried about me, if you know what I mean. So like, it wasn't their fault. And with that being said, as I am right now, okay, Chita, like, we're in September of 2023. I am at a point where I feel like I have definitely healed. Like, I have grown as a person. I understand things better. And yes, I acknowledge the fact that, the reason why I didn't wear certain things before was because I was very, very insecure, and the like I have somewhat healed for that. I'm at a 90%, and I'm very, very happy about that. I'm at a 90%. But after that, like, wake up call, I realized that at the end of the day, like, I don't live in this world alone. I live in this world with other people. So in as much as I know that I'm not the problem, like, there are just certain rules and regulations with which I need to adhere to in different environments. The same way, if I go to a different country and they're conservative and they want me to be fully, like, I'm going to respect people in their, personal spaces and environments. I know for my country, if I'm going to just like a regular Zambian home, I'm not going to show up in booty shorts. Like, I'm not wearing that in somebody else, like in somebody else's home with their parents and their spouse, or like I'm not going to do that. Like, I have common sense. I'm not going to certain social gatherings dressed in a certain, like, I know what the rules are. But at least in spaces where I can be myself, like my actual self in the outfits that I want to wear, I will do so now and not feel that guilt or that shame or that fear that I used to. And I feel like that's like a big deal. Okay, like, I'm so happy that I've gotten to this point in my life. I do. And if you're a younger person watching this who is deep in your tomboy era, for you, it might not be a phase. Like, maybe that's just the style that you like. Okay, and please, like, continue. I'm not trying to tell people how to dress or tell you that, like, it's like, like, it's just in your head. Maybe that's just truly, what you are. Like, you like dressing that way, like you like dressing in a more masculine way. Like, continue, do you. But just in case you're someone like me who was hiding, behind those clothes because of bigger issues, okay, I hope you can start to recognize why you feel a certain type of way. Hopefully, I've broken it down for you. I know it's been so random, but I hope in some way it's kind of helpful and has helped you realize something and put you at peace, so that even as you go through life, as you get older, as you are working on, being more confident. And that's something else, you guys. Like, I was such a nervous person. Okay, I still kind of am, but I feel like I have gotten, like, drastically better. Like, I know I mentioned that I'm trying to walk with my head up high these days, but yes, trying once you analyze these things, once you kind of heal from them and understand why certain things are the way they are, like, once you truly understand these things, you can heal from them, hopefully. And yeah, the older that you get, trust me, like, I am, like, the older that I get, like I can't wait to be in my 40s and 50s where nobody can tell me what to do, how to dress. Right now, people still have, like right now, I still have to behave myself, but I can't wait to get to an age where I'm the adult, like, I'm the ultimate grown up, and I can do whatever the heck I want. Okay, of course, while being respectful towards, certain environments. But if I'm in my environment, my space, because the older that you get, the less people can talk to you anyhow. Like, maybe they'll just, look at you sideways, but they can't talk to you anyhow the older that you get. So yeah, let me end this video here, you guys. Is there anything else that I wanted to say? Because I had some notes. Um, yeah, I think I'll end here. So bottom line is, um, I have, you know, gotten to a far better place mentally where I'm not overthinking things. I have done like a like, okay, like, you guys, like the English today is not Englishing. Okay, like the English bundles have finished, but yes, I'm in a far better mental space because that used to stress me out. It made me very insecure. It made my interactions with people awkward because I always felt uncomfortable or very, very self-aware. I've gotten better. Okay, but I'm still not at 100%. I'm at a 90%, but I'm not at 100% because ultimately, even though, and I say, you know, like most of the time it was in my head, some of those times it was not in my head. I had every right to be afraid, or I had every reason to be apprehensive and self aware because people generally were looking at me funny. Okay. So I don't necessarily wear whatever I want, even though I'm a whole grown up in certain environments, just for my own, like peace of mind. So I will, if I choose to just act all out and dress very, very cute, very, very feminine, it's only in controlled environments where I feel safe and I feel okay and nobody will make me feel weird. Okay, so it's not like 100%, it's 90. And in some, like in some cases, like it even drops to a 30 if I'm in a place where like I don't feel safe or I feel uncomfortable. But yeah, that was today's video. Look at me clapping for myself earlier, thinking it was going to be a 30-minute video. Like I think we've even crossed over to 50 minutes. But yes, thank you for watching this one. I will end here and I will see you in a week's time with the finale of this month's mental health chats. Bye.